General. Good night, Mr. President. I want to greet you, Minister Arreaza, Vice President, DLC, President Luis Arce, President of my country, Mr. Bruno Rodriguez, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Cuba, Daniel Ortega, President of Nicaragua. Of course, also to Prime Minister Skerrit of Dominica, Mr. Ralph Gonzalez, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Minister Chet Greens, and Peter David also. Of course, also to greet our historical leaders of the region, Mr. Evo Morales and Rafael Correa. I will read now the declaration draft of these summits of the ALBA-TCP. The heads of the state and government and the heads of delegations of the member countries of the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of our Americas, Trade Treaty of the Peoples, in the framework of the commemoration of the 200 years of the Carabobo Battle, we renovate our commitment to strengthen the integration and the unity of our peoples as a foundation ideals of Commanders Hugo Chavez Frias and Fidel Castro Ruz. We vindicate the ideas of Bolivar, San Martin, Sucre, Morazán, Sandino, Maurice Bishop, Tupac Katari, Bartolina Sisa Chatoyer, and other leaders of the Latin American independence, symbol of historical union, of the fight of our indigenous peoples and the preservation of freedom. We recognize the historical meaning of the Battle of Carabobo, event that seals the independence of Venezuela with the leadership of Simón Bolívar, to forge the character of the Bolivarian people for its defense for self-determination, the moral value and the value of freedom which have spread to Latin America and the Caribbean and the world. We ratified our commitment with the Latin American and Caribbean integration to fight against the imperialism and the threats against peace and regional stability with multilateralism and following the purposes and the principles of the Charter of the United Nations and the international right. We highlight the need of strengthening the Latin American and Caribbean state community as genuine mechanism that bring together all the states of our America based in the principle of unity in diversity. We greet the return of the constitutional order in the plurinational state of Bolivia that, thanks to the consciousness and fight of its people, could open a process of national reconciliation based on justice and democracy. We are pleased for its return to the international forums for the well-being and the development of our peoples. We highlight the initiatives of President Luis Arce Catacora, internally and internationally, to advance for the economic reactivation, including the financing and the efficient handling of the pandemic. We greet the installation of the new National Assembly of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, developed following institutionality, and at the same time we greet the celebration of the next elections in Venezuela in these 21 years of Bolivarian Revolution. We ratified our unconditional support to the Sandinista government, to President Daniel Ortega Saavedra and the Nicaraguan people in its decision to continue defending the sovereignty, peace, and the advances, the economic and security advances. We condemn the attacks and continued destabilizing attempts against the legitimate government of Nicaragua by the United States, promoting coercive unilateral measures, among other destabilizing actions, to try to interfere in its internal affairs. We greet the participation of the Nicaraguan people, and we demand the non-intervention of the United States in the country. We celebrate and we support the democratic forces in the process of electing governments in other regions of the ALBA-TCP and the efforts to achieve gender equality. We greet the relation between ALBA-TCP and the UN, CELAC, CARICOM, SICA, African Union, Arab League, ECLAC, Euro-Asian Community, and CELAO, under the principles of respect and non-intervention in the internal affairs to guarantee more equality and a commitment regarding the political area. So we ratify the right of the Caribbean peoples to have a just treatment and differentiated treatment. We reaffirm the unconditional support for the defense of these people. We reject the measures adopted against the brothers of CARICOM, considered non-cooperative jurisdictions. We express our concern for the victims of the pandemic in the world, and specifically in our region, as we recognize the commitment of the country members of ALBA-TCP to stop its spread, and the extraordinary efforts of the health personnel to tackle the health crisis, especially the work in the first line, the contingent Henry Reef of the Republic of Cuba, and the developing of 5 vaccine candidates, which proves the sovereignty and solidarity of Cuba. We reject the discredit campaign of the United States against the medical cooperation of Cuba, which is immoral in the current context of the health crisis. We reaffirm the need of an urgent universal immunization against COVID-19, as to assure a prompt, equitable, solidarity, non-discriminatory distribution of vaccines and supplies and medical supplies, to allow the protection to all the people. We recognize the efforts of the Alliance in global collaboration under the sponsorship of the WHO. We welcome the Vaccine Bank of ALBA-TCP, as it was agreed in the last summit, and the Medicine Bank to contribute to improve the access to medical supplies, fast tests, and PCR tests. We condemn the economic, financial blockade imposed by the government of the United States against Cuba, and the more than 240 coercive and unilateral measures imposed, adopted by Trump and still in force, and that has caused losses for $17 billion to the island. We thank the support of all the state members to the ALBA-TCP, and also their support for the resolution in the United Nations against the blockade. We expressed our rejection to the unjust inclusion in the list that sponsored terrorism of the State Department of the United States. This unilateral action, widely rejected inside and outside the United States, has a negative impact in each area of the Cuban society, and it makes it difficult for the country to trade internationally. We express our concern for the massive violations to the human rights against the Colombian people, and we demand the respect for the dignity of the people and their right for peaceful demonstrations. We reject the acts of the Secretary General of the OAS, who has led that organization to and using violent actions, interventions in the internal affairs, and the rupture of the constitutional order of some countries in the region. We recognize the work of the Alliance during the events of St. Vincent and the Grenadines after the eruption of La Sufria volcano as a symbol of solidarity of the countries of ALBA-TCP with the people and the government of that country. We reaffirm our support to the Caribbean countries in their claim of compensation for the genocide of the indigenous population and the horrors of slavery. And we express our commitment with the defense and promotion of the Latin American and Caribbean culture and the identity of the peoples of our region, for the respect of the autochthonous communities. We support the development of ALBA Petrocaribe as a true model of technological and productive model, supported in the values of the Alliance and the principles of the Trade Treaty. Caracas, June 24th, 2021. Mr. President. Excellent. Just for your knowledge, despite the declaration, there are 3 communiques, one special communique regarding climate change to pave the path to the Glasgow meeting, another special communique regarding the bicentennial of the Battle of Carabobo, and the third special communique regarding the standard of ALBA-TCP. So these are the proposals which have been approved. I would propose to listen
el documento sintetizado por la compañera vocera
the spokeswoman of the Bicentennial Congress of the